A couple in their late 20s are married. They had a paternity issue because at the beginning of their courtship, she was still dating other people, and they were not quite sure if the first child was his. Well, that particular child was his. They decided as a couple that they did not want to know. He decided he's going to raise this child as his own, and he does not want to know. That's just what it was. It's his decision. She abided by it. They were cool. So they dropped the kids off with the grandparents for a weekend, and Grandpapa decided to take a snip of the kid's hair and send it in for a DNA test. Hero, unpack this for us.
You want to know the worst thing you can do as an elderly person in this world is betray the only people who are going to have the capacity to bury you. And when I say there's a major concern about a generation of old people who didn't want to have kids but had them out of wedlock, or had them because of strenuous circumstances, or had them because Uncle Sam promised you a benefit. And then when these kids were trying to come up in the world and you threw them out at the age of 16 to fend for themselves, now at your bewildered age, you're over here doing some scandalous stuff like this. Imagine you have the mental fortitude as a man to be willing to sacrifice your sanity for the love of your life and exchange the child that she has birthed. You are the stepdad, aka the man that stepped up when no one else would. Could you imagine having that shit taken away from you because your grandpappy can't handle you being a bigger man than him, because he wants to be able to hold something over your head so you can feel as grimy and belittled and useless as he is. There's a reason why we are giving kids to our aunties in our family instead of the grandparents, because besides their mental fortitude not to take care of children and just not have the capacity to understand that, hey, the kid can't eat gluten, so maybe not feed him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich like I asked nicely, and feed him the nice food I made. Because you can't handle it, people got to suffer. And this is why old folks get sent to homes. This is why you get sent to homes. Uncalled for. Uncalled for.
All right, Shake, what you got?
So my thought process is, I get why it was wrong, right? But if he snipped the hair, you shouldn't snip the hair. But if you can just get the DNA, like hair falls off, and you get it, right? And you didn't share that information, maybe you wanted to know, right? Because he's like, like that, your son might not be your blood, right? And it, for the medical aspect, it's good to know. As somebody who's adopted who does not know his medical history, because I refuse to do a DNA test, right? Because I'm not having my DNA sold to BlackRock, because I don't believe in that level of capitalism. I understand where there's a gap in not knowing your medical history. And if that is not his child, if either way the son has a medical issue or the father has a medical history issue, that's the first place they're going to go, and then they're going to be really confused.
No,
right?
no, I have to disagree. I have to disagree, because it's not like this kid is, unless this kid is a once in a lifetime anomaly genetically, there's no genetic dysphoria or dysfunction that this child is going to have that we can't find in the history books already. There's no signs and symptoms that aren't going to be able to correlate to something else.
I was talking about maybe he needs a kidney, years later need a kidney, right?
You can do a blood type assessment and a blood test, R factor test on anybody. Most 70% of kidney transplants don't come from inside the family in the first place.
Again, I'm not advocating for what the grandfather did, is in telling them, right? If he just wanted to know and you left your DNA here, right?
But why is that your business? You clearly know as a grandfather.
Clearly, he doesn't think it's his clearly he doesn't think that his grandson.
Okay,
he doesn't feel that's his
where
grandson.
does the respect, like, where does the line of respect come from? You're not the father's child. Who are you to clip their hair? That's the equivalent of a daycare person saying, hey, these two black people drop off this white baby every morning. I just want to make sure that they are the parents. Like, you're doing too much. We asked you to watch our kid and feed him the non-gluten sandwich. You clipped his hair and fed him your gluten sandwich.
Well, really, I
Okay,
just
so
put the hair in the DNA test.
Goat says every kid needs to know their real parents.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
What are you
No, they
talking
don't.
about, Goat?
That's not true at all.
Yeah, your dad.
I can-
Can we
Like,
address
do
it
you know
without
the
attacking him?
emotional
Can we do
trauma?
that?
Do you know? Yeah, we about to attack Goat. Where is Goat's comment in this chat? Goat, do you understand the repercussions of trying to be the blood that you're not? Do you understand the repercussions of inheriting the trauma of the blood that you are? Like, too many people hold this truth to soul that blood is thicker than water. There's a reason why one dissolves the other. It's not designed to be tougher than one the other. It's the ultimate solvent of the universe. But because of cliche words passed down to us, we believe this shit to be true. It's not. Your parents are the people who love you. Period.
and like I said, as someone who's adopted, I have really, I joke aside, I have no desire to find my birth parents. Right? Like at best, I just want to know, am I going to go bald? Right? And I can find, but I have no desire, and my medical history, because my parents, right, are the ones who raised me. I'm grateful to my mother for giving me up because I was been born country as Poe, right, in South Carolina, and I'm glad I was not raised that way, very much so. But that's I don't think if you don't need to find your birth parents, it's not you need to. Why, right? Whoever raised you, if you was raised without parents, right, that's a different conversation. Like my sister, she found her mother. I have no desire to. My sister's also adopted. We have separate parents, but I have no desire. Like, and like you interrupting their whole life. Like, you don't know what their life is. That people just think like you. It's actually a little selfish in its own aspect.
Yeah. There's
What
a
if they
reason
weren't
why they
ready to
didn't.
meet you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
If they
of
want to come.
how my family was constructed, I do believe that it's important. And I believe that because my parents felt it was important. So when I was around 10 years old, they let us know that me and my brother had different fathers. And they did that because they felt it was important for my brother to meet his other side of the family. But I do think it's not up to the grandparents, it's up to the parents to decide when and how they are going to disseminate this information.
Correct.
I think in this particular case, the grandparents were extremely wrong to go grab results and then give results when they weren't asked.
Oh, so they did give the results.
Yes, they did give the results.
That's foul as hell. That's wrong.
Yeah.
That is where I'm like, that's wrong. That's so wrong. I
It's
figured that's where the story went.
it's almost as if they wanted to say your life isn't as perfect and great because we know something that you don't know. Imagine holding that over the head of someone you love. Like that's not a normal activity. Like if I found that out, I would take it to my grave. I would have to take it to my grave. But because you don't have the wherewithal, and your objective was to hurt somebody, you threw it out into the sea full of guppies. It's ridiculous.